And then Tom Hardy ate the prop lobster. And the cameras weren't even rolling. He just loves the taste of resin and plastic. I mean, I've had it on good authority.
Isn't it just great when actors get so absorbed in things they do stupid shit and people just let them?
Is it?
No, it isn't. But we still fucking celebrate it.
Yeah, weird that, isn't it? Do you think we have to do that
together?
Do you think we should actually do that? Heap false praise onto actors for the littlest things, because if we don't, they try and find other avenues and run for London mayor.
No, you only have to heap false praise in them so they don't run for London mayor if you're their wife. Whatever you do, don't divorce them.
Did you hear the story that this week Lawrence Fox said in an interview? This was pre the actual results. That one of his kids came to him because obviously they stay with him every weekend or whatever. One of his kids came to him and said, "Mummy's voting for such a body," and it's like someone else. It was like Sadiq Khan or whatever. And Lawrence Fox went, oh, "Okay." It's like, why would the kids say that unless their mum, Billie Piper, went, "Tell your dad that I am not voting for him." Just let him know.
Let him know. He's a cunt.
He's a big old canut. Speaking of big old canuts, hello you.
Hello
You're listening to Big Damn Cast, nerdy news, geeky gossip, just shit that comes out of our mouths. I'm Chris Verbal Diarrhea Johnson.
And I am Matthew Verbal Constipation Watson.
Oh, frog in the throat. At least it ain't dysentery.
The bloody flux.
What I love about this is we're only 3 minutes in and yet we've said Lawrence Fox and dysentery. And I think, if anything, there's never been a more apt pairing of descriptives.
No, it's good.
Joined in holy matrimony.
Oh, well, it's another week. It's been another week of nothing, really.
Yeah, but, I mean, to be fair, we are recording this on Monday the 10th, so maybe it's been a week of something. Maybe it's been an incredible week.
Maybe there's a week coming up that we're going to skip entirely.
Can you believe that on Wednesday the 12th they released Morbius in its entirety onto Netflix?
And you don't even need to be a subscriber. You just go to netflix.co.uk and it plays.
They give you the code. They're giving it to you, the people.
The people demanded Morbius, and Netflix have delivered.
Oh god, I hope that prediction does and doesn't come true.
Yeah,
we'll be speaking more about Sony's.
Sword.
Yeah, we'll be speaking more about Sony's Marvel shit soon. But first, little heads up. It's our 5th anniversary soon.
Yeah.
We've been happily married, 5 year.
Yeah.
Where did we get married? Can you remember?
When or where did you say?
Where did we get married?
Well, we know when. It was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
where?
Yeah. I have a feeling that we did it on holiday, but nowhere expensive.
It was in the back alley of a kebab shop.
Near Prestatyn.
In Basildon.
Oh, Basildon. Sunny Basildon.
Yeah. And it was 3 in the morning.
We got engaged that same night. You slipped the ring into my Donna meat and chips.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then you choked on it. And I had to give you the Heimlich manoeuvre.
You did.
And then I kept giving you the Heimlich manoeuvre.
Long after I'd spat it out.
Just because I enjoyed the motion.
You like the feeling of the struggle.
Look, friction in the right places. So yeah, that magical night was nearly 5 years ago.
And as a result, we'd like some birthday cards, please.
Yeah,
so
please.
If you want to send in missives, we're giving you a heads up. It's a few weeks away. It's episode 258 is our 5th birthday. And you know what that means? It's usually a special occasion. We usually do something a bit diff. So be diff with us. If you want to send stuff in, Now's the time. BigDamnContact@gmail.com. Can you quite believe you're still listening to this? If so, let us know. You can also tweet stuff to us at BigDamnCast. Or chuck us shekels, keep lights on. Patreon.com/BigDamnCast. That helps.
Yeah,
it, in a way.
Does help.
Keep an eye on the socials to find out what the fuck we'll be doing.
Fuck.
I don't see what the fuck it's got to do with you. So that's in a few weeks' time. But we've had an email in because last week we posed a question saying, Oi! Pandemic's nearly... Well, it's not gone, as it'll never go away, really. But, like, the lockdowns are easing and the tears, they be greasing.
Pandemic! No! Where's Harry Enfield when you need him?
Well... thankfully not shitting out another subpar sketch show on BBC One, but... oh, God. While as we're recording this, Inside Number 9 starts a new series at some point while we're on mic. So, what did we think of it? I thought it was great. I liked the bit where everyone exploded.
I thought it was insert reaction here, and I was
Number
totally
9.
Insert reaction here by the insert moment here.
Ah,
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
You're such a shill.
Or was it not great? I don't know.
It would have been brilliant. Let's be honest. But
I'm such a corporate shill.
But we wouldn't be going inside post-pandemic. The idea is we asked you last week, where would you go if you could pick a fictional location? Where the fuck would you go? I have been blessed with mental images since last week of you trying to fit into a pub in Hobbiton. I can't get the mental image out of my head. I just love the idea of you just having to crouch so far that you're basically on bended knee just to lean in and go, 3 flagons of ale.
I'll go.
We're at the table just over there. Can't miss us. I'm the guy who's 2 foot taller than the rest of you.
Literally cannot miss us. I'd go down on bended knee for a half at the Green Dragon, I tell you what.
A bit of the old shandy.
Well, Cleo got in touch and said,
Hey, Cleo. Hey.
Said, hey, my perfect holiday would be...
My perfect Sunday.
It says, hello, Big Damn Boys, once more. Just wanted to give you my thoughts on the recent which fictional location you would love to visit post-pandemic question. And my answer would have to be the paradise island of Themyscira. On one hand, you've got the gorgeous flora and fauna, amazing architecture, fantastic artwork and culture, exhilarating sports featuring the best of the best trying to outwit each other in an arena of mortal combat. With a C, not a K. Because
of course.
Even though Warner Brothers owns the rights to both. And on the other hand, you've got the 7 to 9 foot tall muscled warrior women who are all gorgeous, amazing, fantastic and exhilarating. My gay ass will be very happy there. You're sitting on a white sandy beach somewhere undisclosed, Cleo. Well, thank you, Cleo, and you cannot say fairer than that.
I mean, you could. Like, we could pop along as well at some point. That'd be fair.
Yeah.
Come along, TripAdvisor style. Like, we'd show up and rate the place.
I don't think we'd have as much fun there, though.
We probably also would be killed the moment we set foot on the island.
Yeah.
Like, Diana would have to be there to intervene for lead plot and character shenanigans to allow us to live. Like, she'd have to be there to be like, leave these men be. Why have you arrived? Are you in trouble? We're like, no, we just did there was an all-inclusive.
Yeah. We wanted to go on the club 1830, but I'm 33. So it's more like club 30 to 50.
Just checking. Is this Themyscira like the one in the movies?
In the movies.
Or is it like the one in that fucking awful Grant Morrison Earth 1 book? Because if it's like that, we're going to go. Because it looks real pretty, but like we're going to be murdered within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we'd like to leave.
I don't want to be murdered within 10 minutes. Themyscira is great.
That's a real good shout.
Well, I hear it's great. I've never been, and I'll never go. So as you say, we'll be executed on arrival.
Then again, some people would take one look at Wonder Woman and be like, oh, I'd let her stomp on my skull. So maybe that's the dream destination. Maybe we're missing a trick.
No, you're confusing Wonder Woman with Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah! yeah. Resident Evil Village. That came out this past week.
Did come out.
And neither of us have played it.
Nope, because I do not have time.
What's your review?
My review of Resident Evil Village. It's a video game.
I really liked the bit where insert name of boss here turns into insert name of inevitable giant tendril beast here. I can't believe they had a large eyeball in their insert part of body where eyeball doesn't usually go.
There's always a large eyeball where you least expect it.
What is the betting? Yeah, or is there?
Or is there? Or do you most
see.
expect it there?
Well,
because you played a Resident
betting?
Evil game before.
What's the betting that all these like European horror creatures, like werewolves and that, are just going to be like results of a virus or a goo?
I don't know. From what I've heard, it takes some twists. It takes some turns.
Okay,
but then again, it might come back to the weird Resident Evil mythology in there. Who fucking knows at this point?
I've heard that Jill Valentine shows up, but she falls into Lady Demetrescu's cleavage, and it makes she plummets in there, and because she's so big and they're so bountiful, she sort of sinks in like quicksand, and it creates a Jill sandwich.
It's like that bit in Akira where
okay,
where.
No, do go on, paint a picture for
where Tetsuo's growing all giant and he crushes his poor girlfriend in his giant growing body.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like that bit in Akira.
But like the bit in Planet of the Ood where that bloke falls into the giant
brain.
And he just sort of slips into the middle.
God, remember Planet of the Ood?
I do. I watched it this week. First time in forever. It's pretty good. Partners in Crime, Doctor Who, Series 4. Oh, Catherine Tate, David Tennant, having japes and scrapes. Isn't this hilarious with a bit of subtle body horror, but mostly hilarious? Aren't we having a gay old time? Immediately followed by 2 episodes that are like, humans are shit.
I mean, they are.
Everything's shit. The world is shit, and you are letting people die.
It is, and they are. Like, it is, and we are. Also.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like, I was watching Pfizer Pompeii looking at every character that wasn't the central family going, you'll be dead by the end of this. You'll be dead by the end of this. You'll be dead by the end of this. Hello, Karen Gillan. You'll be dead by the end of this. You'll be dead by the end of this. You'll be dead by the... It's bloody morbid. The Sontarans are going to feel like light comic relief by the time they rock up. And that's before they get turned into light comic relief immediately after this story.
As everything eventually does in Doctor Who, it gets turned into light comic relief or queer baiting. Sometimes both.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become a light comic relief or queer bait character.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to become the Paternoster Gang. Speaking of things that we should let die... the trailer came out for Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to tell you, I was watching this trailer with a gleeful grin on my face because I was watching it and thinking they've just doubled down on everything that didn't work about the first one.
Yeah.
They've just gone harder on the things that were really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's giving me a cough. That's how bad it was. It's making me physically sick. No, it's... they've... Avi Arad, bless his little cotton money socks, he... Avi Arad. That's never going to sync up in the edit, fucking hell. Gotta wait until we're back in person to do that one. Fuck me, I made a run for my own back there. So,
Ex-head of Toy Biz, ex-owner of Marvel, exec producer who works on all of Sony's and Marvel's live-action stuff from the 2000s through to the late 2000s.
Talentless, tasteless, money-grubbing bastard Avi Arad.
Lunchbox-loving, action figure-fondling, beanie-spewing Avi Arad.
He watched Venom, which he also produced, and went, you know what? I'm really proud of this. I'm so proud of this. I'm going to get someone to do a sequel, and I'm going to get this to do more of all the things I liked about it. And if there's anything you should learn about Avi Arad's relationship to previous movie projects, and previous media projects is that if it's something that Avi Arad likes, it's probably bad. So they just double down on the bad. They've doubled down on the Venom's weird internal monologue with Tom Hardy doing a silly voice, which, you know, I can get behind Tom Hardy doing a silly voice. I'm a Bane voice apologist, but hey, here we go. It helps.
Bane voice apologist.
It helps if the dialogue's, you know, half decent.
What do you think is Tom Hardy's stupidest accent? Oh, daftest voice. Mine's his attempt at being Australian in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, but he doesn't do it very often, so it works.
But he also gave us a glorious meme in the form of, that's bait.
Yep.
So we'll give him that.
Don't be bad-mouthing Fury Road in my presence. I'll
God,
Avi
no.
Arad all over you.
Oh, Tom Hardy. I like Tom Hardy a lot, but
In spite of himself.
sometimes you've got to say to Tom Hardy, no, we are not going to build you a prop lobster last minute so you can eat a lobster in this scene. We've already got permissions for you to get in the tank briefly, and that's it.
They've doubled down on the Venom interaction.
Double Down. That's a film I think I'd probably enjoy more than this. Fucking hell.
They've doubled down on the Mrs. Chen stuff.
Yeah, she's a freaking recurring character now. The owner of the convenience store.
The hilarious gag of threatening to eat people.
I think what happened is she threatened to tell people, not that he was Venom after the last scene of the first film, but threatened to tell people about his awful turd in the wind line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of Venom apologists on Twitter today as this trailer launched saying, no, but if you don't say that this... If you say that this isn't what Venom's like, read a comic. And it's like, motherfucker, I've read / suffered through Venom's solo series from the late 80s, early 90s. They ain't good. They are not good. Lethal Protector is not good. None of these miniseries are good. I like Venom. Venom also has shit comic books.
I don't particularly like Venom.
His comic books are shit. Where is he best used? Let me think. Daniel Way's Venom series from the late 2000s, which is basically just, what if The Thing, but with Venom? That works really well, because it's a mini-series that is a horror film that just happens to use the symbiote, and then superheroes show up in the last half, and it gets interesting.
Yeah,
that's fine. And it's got really interesting artwork. That's fine. Matt Gargan becoming Venom as part of Norman Osborn's Dark Reign, that was interesting, because you actually had a Venom who was just a flat-out villain. And that was kind of scary, because everyone thought he was a hero, but he was a villain. And then the second and only time he's been genuinely brilliant is when he was Agent Venom, where it was Flash Thompson as Venom, because it was an interesting story.
Yeah.
It was Blue Beetle, but military, and it was cool, and I liked it. The rest of the time, Venom only works if he's in opposition to Spider-Man. That's where he's interesting. He's the most Dark Mirror you could ever get of a superhero. Like, he's Spider-Man's shadow. Like, he's a monstrous version of Spider-Man. Great. On his own, with no attachment to Spider-Man whatsoever, I couldn't give a flying fuck.
No.
I gave the film a chance. We had a laugh. We were mostly subject to the horrid experiment that was being taken to see it by Dad, John, and Billy.
Yeah.
And then having to dissect it with them.
It's a bit like having a Joker film without
That's also a thing that happened for some reason.
Oh, no.
It's just, for fuck's sake. And then
it's a bit
to
like having
double
a
down.
Morbius film without Spider. Oh, wait.
But then to double down, again, a better film than Venom. To double down, because you at least enjoy it. To double down on it. We've talked potted history. We've talked about this in detail before. Look for any episodes with Venom as a thumbnail, and we have talked about this before. But for those at the back, or who've joined us since 2018, Avi Arad was a man who owned Toy Biz. When Marvel was going bankrupt, Toy Biz was one of the companies that helped dig them out of the shit by buying like big shares of Marvel. Meaning that Avi Arad, man in charge of action figures, also made executive decisions on what books would be published and what characters would be prioritized, because then they could make merchandise of those characters and it would sell well like it already had been. Venom was a thing. Kids loved Venom. He was extreme and scary, so they did more Venom. Then they started doing even more Venom, by which I mean making more characters that were shitter versions of Venom. Phage, Scream, Riot, etc. And that eventually led to Carnage. A bit of a fan favourite character because he was cool to look at. That's it. Carnage is cool to look at, and that is it. So Can writers make him interesting? Sure. Some have done great work with Carnage, but he looks interesting, and that's it. Yeah.
The most interesting thing the ever did with Carnage...
Sorry, Carnage action figure on my shelf that might be getting angry, but you look cool, that's it.
The most interesting thing they ever did with Carnage was having the Sentry tear him in half and throw him into the sun.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
Like, that's the most interesting thing they've ever done with him.
So cool. That was so fucking cool. Because it was that setup of Carnage is legit really dangerous. He's a serial killer with a symbiote. What are we ever going to do to... Oh, that guy just took him into space and then ripped him in half and let his two halves just float off into the ether. I'm scared of Bob now.
Yeah.
Bob is scary. And it worked. It worked around that time. It did what it needed to do. Can Venom and Carnage be interesting? Yes, give them to a good writer. Good writers could do great things with these characters, but they work so much better when in opposition to their mirror. Venom works better when he is against Spider-Man. Carnage works better when you are playing him off of a hero who is fucking disgusted by the lengths at which Carnage is willing to go to hurt and maim and harm people. Venom and Carnage, it's fun to draw them punching each other, but there's no polar opposite. They're the same fucking character, really. Like, visually, the shorthand of a movie, they're the same character. You are just going to have two CGI blobs punching each other in the last 20 minutes of this film.
One's red and one's black.
Yeah. As exemplified by the first movie, with Riot.
That fight at the end
Grey Venom.
Is a bit of a... It's a bit, oh, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Now, the interesting angle here is Andy Serkis is the director of this one.
Yes, that's something this has got going for it.
Yeah, balanced visual effects, has an in-depth and intimate knowledge of merging visual effects with a performance to create something unique. But we see Carnage in this trailer. My inner 11-year-old went, oh yeah, we're going to see Carnage in this trailer. We're going to see Carnage in live action. And then I saw him, and my inner 30-year-old went, yep, and it's just a CGI fucking blob screaming. Because that's all it ever will be.
Yep.
That's all it ever can be. So what's going to happen at the end? Two CGI blobs are going to punch each other. But that happens in loads of films, you might say. Yeah, but usually the CGI blobs don't look exactly the same as each other.
And also, usually the CGI blobs are based on characters that the least mildly interesting. Whereas, yeah,
this gives me the same energy as a Michael Bay Transformers movie.
Yeah. Although,
like those, it is kind of self-aware in some respects.
Yeah.
The dumb humor is there.
Yeah.
I mean, this trailer opens with a really dumb humour sequence.
Yeah. I mean, humour's a strong word.
Well,
but
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cashing in on the one takeaway from the last one that has really stuck around, which is the fandom that either loved it genuinely or ironically when it came to the fact that Venom and the Venom symbiote, that for some reason is called Venom, and Eddie Brock, like, the two of them were basically a sitcom couple. And do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't a rom-com. They weren't a rom-com couple. They were a sitcom couple. There was the weird bickering and the weird flirting, and it was all very hammy and ridiculous. And that was like, okay, that's interesting. Sure, all right.
I mean,
they're doing more of that. Yeah, they're doing more of that. But it also looks like Eddie wishes that Eddie Brock in the comics, for the majority of his time as Venom, didn't walk around going, I fucking hate this thing inside me. God, it's a nuisance. God, it gets on my tits. Do you know what's happened here? This isn't Venom, it's Toxin.
Yeah.
the spawn of Carnage debuted in 2004's Venom vs. Carnage miniseries, which again, y'all who remember it because it looked great because it was the first time they'd given Clayton Crane like every page and gone, hey, illustrate a 4-issue miniseries, and he went, okay. And he draws good symbiote. He gives good symbiote, does Clayton Crane. He gives tasty symbiote, but like, and he gives great Ghost Rider. We talked about that last week, but he did it, and in it, Carnage spawns a symbiote called Toxin that merges with a police officer, and then there's a mini-series with Toxin, and that's like the extent of time we spend with that version of Toxin, because later on they're like, oh, yeah, he was killed off screen, but now Eddie Brock is going to use the Toxin symbiote. It's like, wait, what? But what made Toxin interesting was the fact that Razor Fist is in the Toxin miniseries. Did you know? Going back to Razor Fist.
Sure.
In fact, he's the main villain of that miniseries. Toxin...
More Razor Fist, please.
They tried to make it interesting because the relationship was, this guy is a cop with a wife and a baby, and he now has this monster living inside him, but that monster's just been born. So it's a child. Like, it's hyperactive and giddy and doesn't quite know how to behave. So it's about him trying to sort of teach it and tame it while secretly wondering if he can get it removed from himself.
Yeah.
But also that fighting thing of, well, we can't get the warrant to go in there, but I know that's the... Right, fine, well, I guess Toxin will just have to break in later on. And it's that whole thing of him going, oh, maybe vigilantism is what I should be doing because I'm actually making a difference. But also the thing I'm using is a loaded gun with its own brain that also likes to eat fingers. So maybe... Do you know what I mean? It's like, there was an interesting take there. This is what the movie Venom is. It's Eddie going... Fucking hell, while this thing sings songs and cooks him breakfast. You're like, what is going on? What is happening? Why is this happening? Why are there chickens in his apartment?
That's a good question.
There's 2 live chickens in his apartment.
I guess he keeps them around for the eggs.
But why?
Because it's hard to get fresh eggs in New York. I don't fucking know!
No, he's in San Francisco. And we know he's in San Francisco because there's a fucking Daily Bugle West Coast edition being held by Stephen Graham's character, the detective character.
I mean, let's take a moment for Stephen Graham.
Yeah.
We know he's going to be entertaining because he's Stephen Graham.
It's Stephen Graham. There it is. He's a good guy. Good guy. Yeah, he's reading Daily Bugle West Coast edition. The Morbius set photos that leaked last week from the Manchester filming, and this confirmed that the Daily Bugle is in Morbius and Venom 2. And is using the exact same graphics that were used in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy.
I mean, why not?
Sure. I mean,
sure.
Does that mean they're set in the same universe? Well,
I mean,
why would there be 2 Venoms? Like,
why would there be 2 Venoms? But they made a second one, so I guess there's 2. Oh, right, you didn't mean movie.
Oh, there's yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Shriek is also in this trailer. I didn't know she was in it. But I guess they're doubling down on the early 90s Spider-Man villains that were involved in Maximum Carnage.
Oh, I mean, like, how many Carnage stories can you name? Like, Maximum Carnage.
Carnage USA.
Right, imagine you're someone who
Superior Carnage.
Imagine you're someone who doesn't read comics.
Oh.
How many Carnage stories can you name?
I don't know what a Carnage is. Where are my children? Did you take my children?
Yes, I have taken your children.
Do with them what you will.
No.
Just leave me my wallet.
Who do you think I am? Carnage?
Oh, have you noticed how clearly fucking ashamed they were of that Carrot Top wig?
Oh, yeah, that's gone.
That's
gone.
So funny. Oh my god, Woody Harrelson. Because, again, the trailer treats it like you all know that these two have a relationship. It's weird, isn't it? It's like, I've missed you, Eddie. Hi, Eddie. How are you doing, Eddie? And it's like, what? Unless someone was, like, diligent / foolish enough to stick around after the credits of the first movie.
Diligent.
They'll have no fucking clue who Woody Harrelson's character is. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, what? This is weird. I like how this is relocating part of the Daily Bugle and the Ravencroft Institute to the West Coast because they're like, well, we can't do New York because we don't want to contradict the MCU. But guys, just fucking be your own universe and piss off and leave Spider-Man alone.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I mean, it won't make sense. Half your villains are only interesting if Spider-Man's a part of their story. But, we'll make it work. Sorry, was there carnage on your end just
There
then?
was carnage on my end. I just got accidentally headbutted by Kenesha, who just come in to say hello. Thanks for that.
Gentle listener, I just saw this head fly into frame and butt Matt's head gently.
It was preferable. It was preferable to watching Venom.
That's true.
So there we go.
That's true. That's
probably
true.
preferable to Venom. Let there be Fuck it. Let there be carnage. Why let there be carnage? That's
Because
not a thing
Avi
people
Arad
say.
wants it.
People don't
Avi
say let
Arad-
there be carnage. That's
Avi
not a
Arad
phrase.
loved Venom so much because he sold action figures and T-shirts and lunchboxes that he forced Venom into everything, good or bad, good and bad. Venom is in the opening title sequence of the Spidey 90s animated series, despite not rocking up like at the beginning.
Venom drives
is-
a truck in the 90s animated action series.
Yes, he does. Giving the thumbs up while driving a truck. Venom appears in season 1 of Spectacular Spider-Man. Luckily, that show had some fucking brilliant writers and they made it work. But he was the finale of season 1 and like the through line plot of the first season.
Yeah.
Despite being a threat that any incarnation of Spidey should really face a bit later into their career. Because you need them to know their shit for this to be a danger, to be a threat. Because, of course, a kid would be under siege from a giant monster alien man with teeth. Like, of course they'd be in trouble.
Wouldn't you? You would.
So, older Peter, makes Venom more threatening if more experienced Peter's like, I have no idea how to deal with this. What the fuck am I meant to do? Like, that's more scary. But, yeah, Spectacular Spider-Man made it work. But the most heinous insertion of Venom into a place where he didn't belong was into 2007's Spider-Man 3, which was not a film that was going to feature Venom in any way. No. It was going to be about the Sandman and Harry Osborn becoming the Green Goblin. That's what it was going to be about. And Avi Arad went, do Venom! And Sam Raimi went, is that guy you've been asking me to do since the first movie? And Avi Arad went, yes, do Venom! And he went, why? I don't care about Venom. The reason the first two films worked and again, need I remind everyone, Spider-Man 2 was one of the first films to break like the top opening weekend box office record at the time. Like, and is still a critical darling as far as that film's concerned. He went, the reason those films worked is because I was doing it about shit that I love. And like, I grew up with Spidey in the 60s. So that's why it's the Green Goblin. That's why it's Dr. Octopus. That's why it's working. Because I give a fuck and it comes across on screen.
Yeah.
And Avi Arad went, put Venom in or you won't get to make the rest of this movie. So Raimi went, I guess I'm putting fucking Venom in the movie.
Yeah.
And then tried to find something that would make him interested. And his take on it was having it so that the Venom symbiote alters someone's personality almost immediately. Like in the comics, that's suggested that it makes people more aggressive, but it's more their own hubris and being a dickhead and like feeling all powerful. Whereas in this, it's like, no, it's aggressive and it's making whatever it's attached to aggressive. But isn't it weird how all of a sudden 3 films in, like an alien life form just comes the fuck out of nowhere and that's like suddenly accepted now in this world of Spider-Man? Oh, it's an alien on a meteor. Don't ask questions. Here we go.
It's a bit weird, yeah.
And then the black suit story, he tries to make it something he'd be interested in. Peter being an arsehole, and that version of Peter, that is exactly how he'd act if he was suddenly possessed to be a dickhead. Like, that's what he would think would be cool and sexy and everything. Like, of course it is. He's a dork. He's a massive dork, and it's why that version works so well. And it leads to a great ending. Like the very end where Peter and MJ don't make up and they don't get back together, but it implies that they're going to work at it. And that's how the trilogy ends. And it's like, that's a really sweet note to end on. That's really sweet. Problem is, it meant we got Dig That Funky Soul, and we got Take On This, and we got freaking Topher Grace doing as good a job as he could, but we got that version of Venom.
That version of Venom.
The marketing was full of black suit, red versus red suit iconography and la la la. And that film is the weakest, hands down, out of those three. It's nowhere near as good as the other two. As much as it's trying to be, it just isn't. And that's known. And it's obvious.
It is known.
At the time, there were stories that Avi Arad was looking to do a Venom solo movie to follow up Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Topher Grace was in talks to be in it. And anyone who has eyes was like, yeah, but he's dead. We saw him turn to flame and skeleton. He is dead. It's like, well, Venom is a popular character, so we want to use it. It's like, for fuck's sake, you don't care. You just want Venom to have a movie because you love him so goddamn much. Because he sold lunchboxes and made you a millionaire. That's why you love Venom. That is why you love him.
Was that not clear? Was that not clear?
Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man films are coming out and all the Sony emails leak and there's all this chatter about spin-offs from the Spidey series, including early talks about a Venom solo movie that would then lead to a crossover with the Spider-Man films. So even then they were like, well, Venom doesn't have to have anything to do with Spider-Man, but we'll bring them together eventually.
He does, though. He does have
He's literally Spider-Man's Dark Mirror. He's literally his Dr. Jekyll to his Mr. Hyde to Spidey's Dr. Jekyll. He's for fuck's sake, he works because he's Spidey's polar opposite. Put an image of Venom and Spider-Man next to each other as they look in the comics. Oh look, one of them is an evil version of the other one. That's So he's always wanted this, and he got it in 2018. And he and Amy Pascal have been sidelining to try and use all their Spidey properties that they have legal access to do all these side projects that sort of connect to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but aren't officially part of it, but don't contradict it. Just in case one day maybe Marvel are like, hey, we like that Morbius picture you did. Let's work together with a Morbius or, hey, do you want to use Spider-Man in your Venom sequel? And it's like, nah, just stop. Please just stop, Avi Arad. Just
yeah, I'm not joining in with the clicks this time because I won't be able to sync them up.
That's fine. I don't want this film. I'm morbidly curious as to why Circus said yes. Money as to why Circus said yes.
Definitely money.
And that's it. That's the extent of my thoughts on this trailer. So if anyone asks me about it, just yeah.
I think that's fair.
Do you notice the only in theaters being in the middle of the trailer? That was weird. That was weird, wasn't it? It's like see the thrills, whatever. Only in theaters, first caption on screen.
Guess I'm gonna have to go to the cinema to see Venom: Let There Be Carnage in September.
Venom. They made another Venom. It's a different Venom, but this is a red Venom.
Are they going to do a sequel to that song? Or is it
I hope that Eminem doesn't do it, but they hand it off to because if Carnage is just a recycled, not as good version of Venom, or at least this Carnage looks like it's going to be like that. It's just going to be more Venom but red with spikier bits on them. They should do the same. So, white rapper, successful, good track record, Eminem, right? Releases a pretty mediocre song called Venom to tie in with Venom.
Are you saying the sequel to that song should be done by Riff Raff?
No, I said the sequel. It should be even shitter.
Oh,
the sequel to this song should be done by Lil Dicky, and it should be called Let There Be Carnage. And he can come up with semi-humorous rhymes about how his penis is small, and also Carnage is a character in this film, and here's a random guest hook from fucking Chris Brown. Because for some reason, Lil Dicky forgot that we all know he's a
famous domestic abuser, Chris Brown. Yeah.
So
okay.
I think that's where we should go with this. And then the single cover should be obviously Lil Dicky doing that weird little vacant face he does with the little penis gesture that he always does in all the pictures. But he should have red curly bits coming off the top of his hair. Carnage. Manage, blood. I've got a flamage, carnage, and I got it.
Is he gonna do a tie-in video like the one that Ice Cube did for Deep Blue Sea, where he's turning into
that beautiful, beautiful piece of art.
He's turning into a carnage like Ice Cube turned into a shark monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Deepest, bluest, my hair is like a carnage. That's what it can say.
No!
Um,
Oh, no! Oh, I'm going to be a little bit sick in my mouth again. I'd only just got over the trailer.
do you know what made me sick in my mouth today?
I think I do, but please tell the audience.
This morning, boys and girls, I had a busy fucking day, and I woke up and I checked my phone. I was just giving Matt a nudge, me like, "We still go for tonight? What have you?" And I just look at my phone, and I've received several messages from about an hour prior. 9:05 this morning. Mayhew, let there be carnage. Watson,
That's me.
over there, sent me several video clips of a movie called Cargo. Like cargo, but with a capital G in the middle.
Yeah.
Matt, what were you watching this morning?
So, I've mentioned before on this podcast the wonderful free streaming service that is Pluto.tv. Mm-hmm. Which has supported free streaming, and there's on-demand stuff, or you can just put a channel on. And the channels tend to be like one show on constant loop. Like there's a Dog the Bounty Hunter channel. Or like one topic on constant loop. There's a paranormal channel which is like ghost adventures and ghost hunters and haunting recreation shows and shit like that. There's a Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares channel if you're into that sort of thing. And there's also movie channels. And there is a channel on this streaming service called The Asylum, which is dedicated solely to a constant stream of movies by infamous quote-unquote mockbuster studio The Asylum. So I just popped that on, see what crap was on there. I popped it on the other day and watched a bit of Titanic 2, which is Bruce Davison of Senator Kelly fame fighting a giant iceberg. You think I'm making it up? I'm really not. Some of the talent you get for these movies is fucking wild. But after catching a little bit of Ocean's Rising, in which the world is flooded and they have to do something at CERN to save the world or something. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. I left the room, did something else, came back, and wouldn't you know, we had this animated movie started playing, and the cast started scrolling across the screen. I'm like, Melissa Joan Hart, alright, she's done plenty of weird straight-to-video shit.
Mostly Christian.
Yeah. Haley Joel Osment. All right. Okay. Jason Mewes? What? So
Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the I See Dead People kid, and Nang are talking cars.
I mean, yeah, they are. And you want to know the horrifying premise of this movie?
Please, because this movie, the clips you sent me, all I could think of is it was some kind of satanic school for ritual sacrifice.
I mean, this movie
at least
came
that's
out,
what the music sounded like.
So going off the animation style, what year do you think this movie came out in?
Right, so it's the cars are not even attempting to be legally distinct from the Pixar cars.
No,
they look like if you went into the Disney store and bought a play set of like 50 die-cast, spinning wheels models of the Cars characters, and these were the characters you didn't know the names of, but they're in the set. Like, they look so much like a copy. So it has to be around the time of one of the Cars films coming out for them to try and cash in.
Okay.
I'm going to say maybe Cars 2, so we're talking like, 2011, 2012, maybe. It doesn't look good enough for that time, but like that's where I'm thinking it might have come out.
This movie came out in 2017.
No! No!
It looks like a fucking...
It was a cash-in for number 3.
It looks like a PS2 game cutscene. Like,
oh my god, don't insult the PS2!
Like, it's really, really poor, blocky, like, poor animation, CGI. Like, there's one moment where the main character crashes through a billboard, and it's just hilariously bad chunks of rubble, which do not animate like anything other than just polystyrene chunks.
Who's our main character? Is it Haley Joel Osment?
Haley Joel Osment as Danny. Yeah.
Oh, bless him.
So the fucking hell.
Sora, they've trapped you in the body of a talking car.
This the synopsis is: a young Car learns the importance of family when he embarks on a mission to rescue his father, who's been sent to Clunker Island to be repurposed as junk metal.
What the fuck?
Yeah. This
I'm
movie.
sorry. What?
This movie.
The fuck?
This movie also stars Jason Mewes as Vin, Melissa
Who has a
Joan
mohawk
Hart
made
as
from a taxi sign.
yeah, Melissa Joan Hart as Cabigail,
She's got lips.
Portia Williams as Carlotta.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you should have just called the character Portia. That would have been fine. That would have worked.
Phil Lamar plays a character called Fred Copcar.
Oh. Even the finest voice actors occasionally are given like, I've got something for you on Friday. Great, what is it? Oh, literally, you'll be in for an hour. You'll do like 10 lines. They're paying you $4,000. Great, sure. What is it? You're playing Cop Car. Sure. All right.
Cop Car.
I'm Green Lantern, but fuck it. Go on. Let's go.
Yeah, man, fucking yeah. Phil Lamar and Maurice LaMarche are both in
Oh, Maurice LaMarche, bless you. I hope both of you bought really nice dinners with the money you got for this.
this. And let us also not forget Ed Asner.
That's what got me.
Who's playing Art, who is Danny's dad.
You text me and said, I nearly stuck this out all the way, but then I had to leave as soon as Ed Asner's musical number began.
Oh yeah, this movie opens with like the Cars singing about the city of Cargo, where the road some
Was
roads
that what
go
they were
up
doing?
and some roads go down.
I thought someone had turned the microphone on at a primary school's choir rehearsal.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It sounds awful.
It's really bad. And then I sent you a bit of a classroom scene with Jason Mewes' character egging on the main character, and then I sent you some of Jason Mewes rapping.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those educational videos for kids that they show in schools with really, really poor raps, where it's like, let's talk about drugs and sex. Don't do those or you'll be in jail.
My name is blah, and I'm here to say, like, that level of, oh my god. And I've got to give him credit. In the clip she sent me, Muse sounded the most enthused. Like, he was going for it. He was like, sure, I'm gonna make this work as best as I can.
I mean, it's either this or I have to go do another one of those movies for that fucking hack Kevin Smith. Just kidding, Kev. We love you, but don't do NFTs.
Yeah, Jesus, please don't.
Yeah, don't do
please.
NFTs.
Please, just fucking distribute it yourself. It's just better for everybody, for Christ's sake.
Just don't do NFTs. I mean, what Weekend is going to do anyway. And yeah,
something Dogecoin, something. Sorry, carry on.
There is, fucking the main kid Car is doing something, that he shouldn't be doing and goes home early, and his dad gives him a stern talking to, and then his dad starts singing about what you do when you've got a son who is a Car, who is a chip off the old block. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't listen to Ed Asner sing this song. And I was like 10 minutes in.
Ed Asner is many things, most of them wonderful, but I don't want to hear the old grumpy fucker from Up singing. And that's the most baffling thing about the casting of Ed Asner. It's so blatantly The Asylum going, well, if we get someone who's in a Pixar movie,
yeah,
then people will be like, oh, maybe this is a Pixar movie.
That's Asylum's fucking MO. They take a film and they give it a suspiciously similar title to something that's out, or a sequel, or make it like it's a sequel to something that's out, and they will occasionally get like one or two like mid-level names to put on the box who tend to want to be in it for about 5 minutes, and then they pump those out.
Unfortunately for them, Lance Henriksen hasn't done a Pixar movie yet. So.
No. He must have done an Asylum movie, though. I'm going to have to do some research.
I'm surprised that Cage hasn't done one yet. Because Nick Cage does, 10 films a year, pretty much.
I mean, he might have done.
And sometimes they're blockbusters, like stuff people, see his name on in the trailer in the cinema and go, "Oh shit, I love Nick Cage." And like 70% of the stuff he makes each year is stuff that goes straight to DVD. And yet it seems to be it doesn't damage his career in any way. Like, it's sort of just seen as, sure. And the real reason he's doing it is because he is in debt a lot. Like, he's in a shit ton of debt. So he's just making everything that comes across his agent's desk, basically.
He is not a man who makes sensible spending decisions.
Oh, fuck no. The dude had a barely secured copy of Action Comics #1 in a house in Bath, England, and it got stolen by someone who just literally broke in, knew where it was, grabbed it, and left.
It's a horrible
Dude lost
thing.
Superman's first appearance. That alone would have been worth more than any movie paycheck he's ever been given.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck, Nick? Come on. By the way, if you want to come on the podcast anytime, Nick Cage, we would love to have you on.
I mean, I don't think we can afford him. I know he's cheap, but I don't think he's that cheap.
We'll just pretend that we're doing a straight-to-DVD movie about a knight who kills a witch or some shit.
We'll just say, you know what, we'll let you get shot in the eye, because I know you wanted to do it on that last movie you did, and he wouldn't let you do it, so we'll let you get shot in the eye on this one.
Look, we know that you want to do a movie where you don't have to learn any lines, but you can drink a load of beer and look cool, alright? We don't have that yet, but I guess we've got this leftover Five Nights at Freddy's script. so if we kind of tool that and then just put you in it, you could be like a caretaker and you punch animatronic stoats or whatever.
I've got to track that down.
I've heard things.
Yes, so I hear. I hear you've heard things.
I've heard things.
But yeah, after I subjected you to the torture of Cargo, I decided to go to Amazon Prime and I watched 3 horror classics on the trot that I have been on my watch list for a while because they'd just gone on Prime. I did a David Cronenberg double bill of Scanners and The Brood. And
okay, that was to cleanse your palate.
Yeah, and then I decided to hit up the early 80s sort of monster movie in New York, Chud.
So you mean
or cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers?
Fuck yeah.
Or the other movie with John Hurd and Daniel Stern. So, and let me tell you, those are all pretty good. I think Scanners is probably the one that's aged the best. Although there's really interesting stuff in all of them. Chud is actually pretty interesting in the way that it's like got a bunch of like sympathetically portrayed like street people in early 80s New York.
Streeple.
Yes. Like it doesn't sort of like make out that people who live rough are bums and like all awful people. And it has like an ex-convict who is like the Daniel Stern character is an ex-convict who's reformed and like runs a soup kitchen for them.
Yeah.
And like who the like there's a police character who's initially suspicious of him but then teams up with him and like they sort of become this odd couple friend group. And then the John Hurd character, his wife is a model, he's a photographer, and she finds out she's pregnant and they have the whole conversation and she's like, well, what do you want me to do with it? And he's like, well, it's your decision. And I'll support whatever you do because, you know, it's not about whether I want it, it's about whether you want it. And I'm like, when did this movie come out? This is strangely forward-facing. So yeah, Chud's pretty good. Chud is pretty good. And yeah, Shivers is not Shivers. That's a different David Cronenberg movie. The Brood has got some. I mean, The Brood and Scanners have both got some just incredible body horror in them because they're David Cronenberg films. The Brood has got Oliver Reed in it, so you should watch it just for that.
Yeah.
You should watch it just for that. And Scanners has got Michael Ironside in it, so you should watch it just for that. And Patrick McGowan, so you should watch it just for that. and that dude's head explodes.
One of the finest practical explosions in all of cinema.
And that's like in the first 15 minutes of the movie, so that movie starts strong. And God, that effect still holds up. It's a great scene. Yeah, fucking Michael Ironside, man. So yeah, I cleared my palette of Cargo with a triple feature. But yeah, I think we should do some Cronenberg stuff in the future. We should do a Cronenberg deep dive, maybe. Speaking of
once upon a time, you told me about The Fly 2, which I know is not strictly Cronenberg, but like I've been dying to get around to it as a result.
Yeah, The Fly 2 is actually pretty good. I mean, you want to see Eric Stoltz in some weird makeup? We can make that happen for you. You want to see some? Did you know Mel Brooks was a producer on The Fly?
I did.
Like Mel Brooks was super.
He went uncredited because he didn't want people to get the wrong idea with his name being attached. Yeah. When I first heard that, I was like, that's fucking nuts. But also a really sensible decision on Mel Brooks' part. Like, if my name's on the poster, people are going to go, oh, it's a comedy. So keep my name off of the poster. And it's like, that's a really good call. Speaking of, got a couple of reviews in for Cargo. Daniel Stride Vlogs has said, in response to a tweet I put out, that it's interesting. And Tony Addis has said, damn it, I'm late. Why does Venom sound like Cookie Monster? Oh, wait, no, sorry. Their responses to the Venom trailer. Sorry, I just wanted to... Didn't want to confuse anyone there. Thank you for sending those in, lads. But if we could next have your review about Chud or Cargo...
Oh, this one
that'd
comes
be
in.
Great.
This one comes in from Kneecap Dan about Venom 2.
Yeah.
He says, he'll have to email again soon as it's been a while, but he has to give his thoughts on Venom 2. One word: cinema. This is what the Venedum was made for. The magnum opus.
Is that Mitchell's versus the Machines reference?
The magnum opus is here. Seriously though, the protag and antag seem to be in two completely different films that have been thrust together, and the result looks like a blast. When drunk. First reaction was audibly saying, for fuck's sake, with a big smile, which sums it up. Which is kind of similar to my reaction. I was just like, oh, I guess they're doing this. We're doing this again. But yes.
Kneecap Dan, that's a pretty good summation, I think. That's, yeah.
We also got a slightly unrelated email in. A completely unrelated email in. But I want to read it before we go because I think it opens up something for the future. And this one is from series regular James. And James says...
Hey, James.
He says, hello there, Chris and Matt. The Bad Batch have arrived. Are you watching the show? How are you both doing with the Clone Wars? Could we get a discussion about Star Wars animation at some point in the future? Chris.
Yes.
Could we get a discussion about Star Wars animation at some point in the future?
You know, it's almost as if organically a format change is approaching sooner rather than later, which would greatly facilitate such a project.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I mean, I've not watched any Bad Batch yet.
I've not watched Bad Batch because I'm working my way through Clone Wars. I am currently in season 3 of the Clone Wars. I'm just literally watching it. I'm watching it in sort of like spurts where I'll go a couple of weeks without watching it, and then I'll watch like 4 episodes in one go.
That's me.
Then,
that's what I'm doing too.
So I've just finished the Mortis arc.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, the Clone Wars gets pretty good from season 2 onwards. Season 1's a bit.
Season one is very much this short for 20-minute animated thing has been included in a DVD with your breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
Like every episode's kind of like that. And it's a little visual thing and it's kind of cool and it's got a bit of lore and you're surprised with the amount of death that occurs in it.
Yeah.
But it's aside from that, it's not that special. And then series 2, when they start experimenting with story arcs and really going into the politics, like the political stuff's been the most intriguing for me.
Yeah.
But the way they do the politics has been like really mature for a kids' TV series.
There's a really great podcast, a rewatch podcast for the Clone Wars called A More Civilized Age. It's fairly young. They're only like they only do episodes every 2 weeks, and they only do like 2 or 3 episodes per episode of the podcast. But they start with the 2 prequel movies, then go into the Clone Wars series.
Makes sense.
Then they took a pause after they got a few episodes into the series. One of them like, No, I think we have to do Revenge of the Sith before we carry on with this.
Okay.
And because, like, the idea was to initially do all of the Clone Wars and then Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But there's so much of the Clone Wars show that kind of hinges on you having seen Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
In terms of, like,
a lot
dramatic...
a lot of the Dooku stuff sort of
Yeah.
hits heavier when you know where he's going in terms of his,
Yeah, exactly.
his
So they decided that
eventual end.
they had to do that. But if you want to get deep in on Star Wars animation, that's a really good show to
A more
to sort of-
civilized age.
a more civilized age.
John Pertwee?
Yes. Well, funnily enough, you said. But yeah, that's worth going. But yeah, I think we will absolutely talk about Star Wars discussion. Discuss Star Wars animation at more than one point in the not too distant future. And of course, we've got to cover the tale of the faithful Wookiee, and droids. Let us not forget droids. James goes on to say,
Oh God, do we have to do droids? I'm up for that.
we have
Fuck
to do
it.
droids. I mean, we don't
have.
have to do droids, but we should do droids.
They've put so much of it on Disney Plus now. We have no excuse.
Yes. I was recently watching Philip Hinchcliffe's interview from last year's season 14 collection box set. At least you got one. In the
Ladies and
interview,
gentlemen, Matt and Chris are about to reluctantly answer a Doctor Who question.
yes,
Here we
we
go.
are. It's a return of Chris and Matt, two lifelong Doctor Who fans, reluctantly answer Doctor Who questions. In the interview, we talked about Robert Holmes' original plan for Talons.
Do you mean
said
Robert
that
Holmes?
Robert Holmes. Robert Robert Mensch. He
Robert
said that
Mensch.
Holmes had originally planned for the character that became Magnus Greel to be the Master. I now can't unsee this. Time cabinet is TARDIS, melty face, sewer lair, size-changing technology, looking to rejuvenate himself, cunning disguise as Weng Chiang. How do you boys think the story would have been much different, if at all, if Hinchcliffe hadn't told Holmes to remove the Master? Keep on being the biggest, dammest, and castest pod around, from a decayed boy just trying to gain a new body at last. I mean, James. I think
Thanks,
the only
Thomas.
I think the only real difference you would have had, apart from the obvious differences in dialogue, would be that he would escape at the end.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
and-
and maybe who's your man now? Incredibly racist decision. What's the character
The
called?
yellow face stuff with Lee Sen Chang, Michael Wisher.
What they probably would have
wanna say?
done. I don't think it's Michael Wisher.
No, it's not Michael Wisher. It's the guy who plays. It's the guy who also plays the racist yellow-faced Tibetan monk in Planet of the Spiders. And
No, hang on, is it?
I think so.
No, it's not him. No, he's
it?
someone else. That's he's the Sontarans. That guy.
Oh, Kevin Lindsay.
Yeah. I think. Oh God.
God,
God,
I'm
no.
gonna have to look it up.
But you know
yeah.
you know who I mean. What's the character's name?
Lee Sen Chang.
Lee Sen Chang. That's it. So Lee Sen Chang. If it had been the Master as Magnus Greel, I think Lee Sen Chang probably would have been more of a pawn, like way more of a pawn.
John Bennett,
John Bennett. That's the one.
who is in a bunch of Doctor Who. Let me see what Doctor Who he's in while you're talking.
That's right, but I think he would have been more of a pawn, and I think the stuff where people have been hypnotized probably would have had them be taken downstairs, and then they would have had the whammy put on them, because obviously we know that the Master can do that. So that's probably the only changes, really. Like, he would have gotten away at the end, and the Master would have been the one doing the hypnosis. And apart from that, it probably would have been pretty much the same, I guess.
Yeah, I
Question
like
is,
to think it would have been.
would it have been Ping Pong Ball Eyes Master or Islands Master?
Well, he's General Finch in Invasion of the Dinosaurs. That's the other Doctor Who.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would still have a bunch of yellow face in it. Is the main thing, because of the time at which it was made. Because that sucks. But would it have been better? I don't know. I like Magnus Greel as a villain. It's
And
always...
I still like the Challenger Weng Chang a lot. Right? It
yeah.
is greatly flawed in one very big respect.
Yeah.
So you'd never catch me fucking screening it or recommending it to people, but
At
think it's
least
a really
not
good
without
story.
a massive caveat.
Yeah, the massive.
Like,
just before we start.
Just before. Yeah, it's a great story, but massively racist depiction of race. Funnily enough,
Yeah.
Massively.
Racist depiction of dishwasher soap.
Yeah.
Dishwasher soap. It's really strange.
But yeah, it's an interesting thought. I think I'd be interested to have a look at Doctor Who stories through that lens of like, oh, was this originally another villain in an earlier draft?
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely elements of that in New Who, because I think there's a couple of things where it's like, oh, this could easily have been a Cyberman or a Dalek, or well, infamously the Toclafane were left over from what they would have used instead of the Daleks for season 1 if they couldn't get the rights of termination.
You sort of turned into a Dalek there, as you were saying.
Yeah.
If they couldn't get the rights from
'Cause
Termination's estate.
I started that sentence without realising how I was going to phrase it. So it kind of got away from me.
Yeah, it got away from me, yeah.
Or am I making that up? That is right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Toclafane were the stand-in. It was Rob Shearman and Russell C Davies crafted Dalek around a Dalek.
Yeah.
But just in case there was also an alternate version that they wrote that would have then also led into the finale. Because they published it in DWM a few years back, like a couple of pages from the alternate script.
Okay.
And Russell somewhere did a sketch of the Ninth Doctor with a Toclafane.
Yeah.
Which ended up looking incredibly like how they looked in Series 3.
Well, if you've got the idea, then you've got a couple of years to sit on it. I imagine it would stay pretty much the same. But yeah, that's an interesting way to look at Doctor Who stories. And yes, Star Wars animation. We should do some Star Wars animation soon. We will do that.
Look into that one. Look into that one.
But we'll look into many things in the
Like
future.
shoes and ships and ceiling wets. Or just cabbages and kings. Have you been watching Alan Partridge this time?
No, I don't watch television, Christopher.
Neither do I. I watch on iPlayer.
television.
But that being said, Inside Number 9 starts in 15 minutes, so I might go watch it, go out live.
Oh yeah, quick! You need to go watch it. Let's wrap up this podcast so you can go watch it.
Here on the past. Thanks for listening, folks. Contact details were earlier in the episode. If you missed them, tough. But best place to hit us up is at Big Damn Cast on Twitter. And of course, every Friday night, around 7:30, twitch.tv/Big Damn Stream, you can gaze at Matt's beautiful visage as he occasionally goes, fuck's sake, whilst playing Super Star Wars. And other such games.
That was a scarily accurate description of our channel.
Womp Rat's a little bastard, I tell you.
Womp rats, man. Fucking womp rats.
We'll be back next week talking about, something,
I don't know,
I imagine.
Something.
But until then, let's leave you with a cargo-style rap. My name is
Matt, and I'm here to say this podcast's over. Let's say good day. I've got some wheels and a fuel tank, and if you give me that lip, I'll give you a spank.
Take it to the chorus.
Take it to the cargo bridge. Bye.